The afternoon sun began to cast long and amber shadows across the worn pavement of Lanford as Jackie stood in the center of the newly renovated restaurant space. The air was a thick mixture of fresh white paint and the lingering scent of sawdust, a fragrance that represented both exhaustion and the flickering hope of a new beginning. She smoothed her apron with trembling hands, waiting for a visitor who had only been a voice on the other end of a crackling telephone line for the past 3 weeks. When the bell above the entrance finally chimed with a light and melodic sound, a woman with an air of practiced confidence stepped inside. "Hello, Jackie?" the woman inquired, her voice striking a perfect balance between professional warmth and the steel of a veteran negotiator. Jackie turned and managed a tentative smile as she recognized the professional presence. "Yeah?" Jackie replied, her heart fluttering with a mix of anxiety and relief. "I am Dawn, from Cook County Meat and Fish." "Hi." The woman introduced herself, extending a hand that suggested years of successful negotiations and firm handshakes. "Oh, thank you so much for coming down here," Jackie said, exhaling a breath she did not realize she had been holding. "You look exactly like I pictured you from all of our extensive phone calls. There is a certain resonance in your voice that matched the person standing before me perfectly. You have the look of someone who knows exactly which cut of beef is going to satisfy a hungry crowd." "You are exactly as I imagined, too," Dawn responded, her eyes scanning the room with genuine appreciation. "But weirdly enough, you sound different in person than you do over the wire. Perhaps it is the acoustics of this charming space. Oh, I absolutely love what you have done here. You know, a lot of new restaurants in this area try far too hard to be something they are not, but this feels authentic and warm. It has a soul." "Yeah, not us," Jackie said with a self-deprecating chuckle that hid her underlying ambition. "We know exactly what it takes to get the job done, and we pride ourselves on doing just a little bit less than the absolute maximum effort. We find that the sweet spot of restaurant management lies in being efficient without being completely exhausted by the end of the night." Dawn laughed, a rich and genuine sound that seemed to chase away the lingering silence of the room. "You are absolutely hilarious, Jackie. You know that?" "No, I am not." "Am I?" Jackie asked, looking around the empty room as if searching for a witness to her humor. "Yeah, heck yeah," Dawn assured her, pulling a professional clipboard from her leather bag. "Okay, so I have already taken the liberty of reviewing your preliminary menu. I will put together an initial order based on our previous discussions. That way, you can price my services against the other suppliers you might be considering. I mean, those thieves who roam the county looking for unsuspecting owners. No, I am just kidding. I mean regular suppliers, who just happen to steal your profit margins when you are not looking." The lighthearted conversation was briefly interrupted as the heavy back door swung open with a resounding thud. Becky stepped into the room, looking slightly disheveled and breathing heavily as if she had just completed a sprint through a domestic obstacle course. Her hair was a bit wild, and she was clutching her purse like a shield. "Sorry I am late," Becky panted, leaning against a wooden counter for a moment to catch her breath. DJ came over to watch the baby, and the little one decided to express her artistic vision by hitting him right in the eye with a heavy plastic rattle. He started crying. Then she started crying because he was crying, and then I just sat down on the floor and cried because I realized I desperately need better childcare options. It was a complete symphony of tears in my living room this afternoon. "Becky, take a breath. This is Dawn from Cook County Meat and Fish," Jackie introduced, gesturing toward their guest. "She thinks I am hilarious. So I believe we are off to a phenomenal start in this partnership." "Such a pleasure to meet you, Becky," Dawn said, her professional demeanor returning but remaining warm. "I have to tell you both, I truly think the concept of elevated comfort food in this specific location is going to be a monumental winner. The community is starving for something that feels like home. The only thing you are currently missing is a signature big-ticket item to anchor the menu. Steak. You need to offer a truly magnificent steak that people will talk about for weeks." "We cannot afford a good steak right now," Becky replied flatly, the practical weight of their finances pressing down on her shoulders. "And I am not just talking about the customers who will look at the price point. I am talking about the people that actually own this restaurant. Our bank account is currently more of a suggestion than a reality. We are working with very limited resources here. Jackie jumped in, trying to bridge the gap between their ambition and their current situation. Becky, Dawn has a fantastic background that we should really respect. She was a primary buyer for a massive restaurant chain before she started her own firm. She knows where the value is hidden in the market. I started this company after the managing partner at the Olympic Games made my life exceptionally difficult. Dawn shared, her voice carrying a hint of steel. Can you believe that? They tried to push me out. So I built my own door and walked through it. The exact same thing happened to me in the stockroom of my previous employment. Jackie said, nodding in solemn solidarity. It seems the path to independence is often paved with the mistakes of former bosses who underestimated us. Yep. And look at us now. Standing in our own domain. Dawn said with a satisfied smile. Well, I am looking at you in those boots. Jackie. And I have to tell you, I absolutely love them. They have a certain rugged elegance that fits this place perfectly. Oh. Well. They would look good on your cute little figure. Too. Jackie complimented. Oh. No. I could never pull off boots like that. Jackie demurred, looking down at her sensible shoes. Oh. You would not have to pull them off yourself. Dawn joked with a mischievous glint in her eye. Your boyfriend would be the one pulling them off. And believe me, he would not stop there. Oh. Yeah. You better quit it right now. Jackie said, blushing furiously but clearly enjoying the playful banter. I mean, I do not know. I do not even have a boyfriend to worry about such complicated matters. My romantic life is currently a very quiet and peaceful desert. Oh, neither do I, Dawn admitted, her expression softening into one of shared experience. But so what? Here is to being our own soulmates. We provide our own happiness and our own success. Amen to that, Jackie said, raising an invisible glass. Yes, we love ourselves. Even if men do not seem to realize what they are missing out on. Can we please get back to the logistical reality of the food costs? Becky interrupted, her eyes scanning the pricing sheets Dawn had laid out on the table. Let us talk about the actual numbers and the bottom line. Okay. Dawn said, the professional supplier once again taking the lead. Well, this has been an absolute delight. I will compile a list of what I think you need to succeed, and I will send you an itemized estimate by tomorrow morning. Au revoir. That is French for goodbye. Goodbye, Jackie said, waving as Dawn exited the building. I know. Everybody knows that one. As the door closed, Becky turned to Jackie with a skeptical eyebrow raised. And before you fall completely in love with her and her expensive boots, we should probably discuss whether we can actually afford her expertise. I love her energy, Jackie insisted, staring at the door. I am not in love with her, but she represents a level of confidence I have been searching for my entire life. She is my new professional North Star. Meanwhile, across town at the Connor residence, the sound of a heavy and painful groan echoed through the hallway. Dan Connor was currently sprawled out on the living room floor, his face twisted in a grimace of sudden and sharp agony. Oh, my God. What happened? Jackie asked as she walked through the front door and saw her brother-in-law in distress. He tweaked his back while trying to nail a loose floorboard in the hallway. Mark explained, hovering over Dan with a look of helpless concern. He was just trying to be handy. I am fine, Dan wheezed, his voice strained and tight. I just have to soak it in some hot water and then lay down for approximately 3 days. Or perhaps a month. No. You need to see a medical professional right now, Becky insisted. I am going to take you to the urgent care clinic this very minute. We are not taking any chances with your spine. It is just a temporary twinge, Dan said, attempting to push himself up and immediately collapsing back onto the rug with a loud yelp of defeat. I am fine. Ow. I feel good. Dan began to sing through gritted teeth. trying to use humor to mask the lightning bolts of pain. I knew that I would. Whoa. I feel nice. I am sugar and spice and everything nice. The family watched with a mixture of sympathy and amusement as Dan tried to maintain his dignity while being completely immobilized by a single muscle spasm. It was a classic Connor moment, where strength and stubbornness collided in a spectacular display of domestic reality. A few hours later, the house had settled into a quieter rhythm. Harris walked in, clutching a crisp white envelope in her hand. Her face was a mask of careful neutrality, but her eyes betrayed a flicker of something significant. Harris got a letter from Central Illinois State, Darlene announced, looking up from the kitchen table with a curious expression. The college or the penitentiary? Dan asked from his recliner, where he was currently draped in ice packs and a heavy blanket. Congratulations. You are officially a mud turtle, Darlene said, her voice filled with a rare and genuine pride. Oh, my God. She actually got in. That is truly great news. Finally, someone from this family has made it into a legitimate institution of higher learning. Hey, I went to college, Jackie argued from the sofa, looking up from her book. You went to art school? Jackie, Darlene countered with a smirk. That is basically a place where you pay to color and they eventually give you a library card. How much is this academic endeavor going to cost us? Dan asked, the practical reality of the situation always being his primary concern. I do not know the exact figures yet, Darlene admitted. But now that I am a divorced, unemployed single mother with no visible assets and a very colorful history, we might actually have a real shot at some significant financial aid. My lifelong plan to systematically destroy my financial life is finally starting to pay off for the next generation. I told you to stick with your plan. Jackie joked. You know what? Harris asked me to bring some clothes over to Odessa's place. So I am going to take them over there right now and show this acceptance letter to her. I want her to see that there is a way out of here. She is finally going to let you know the truth about the situation. Is she not? Dan asked. At least now I have a legitimate shot at getting her out of that environment and into a dorm room, Darlene said, grabbing her heavy coat. There are no drugs in dorm rooms. Just excessive amounts of caffeine and sleep deprivation. Darlene arrived at the apartment complex where Odessa lived. The hallway smelled of old cabbage and broken dreams. She knocked on the door, and a young man with bloodshot eyes and a bewildered expression answered. Hello, Odessa. Harris is expecting me, Darlene said, trying to sound authoritative despite the odd surroundings. Before you reach the other side. You see, the young man said, leaning against the doorframe. Answer me these questions 3. I believe somebody just smoked a large bowl while watching Monty Python and the Holy Grail, Darlene observed, stepping past him into the hazy apartment. Correct. You may pass, the man whispered, closing the door behind her. Not exactly what you expected. Huh? Harris asked, appearing from a side room. We usually save the human sacrifices for the bedroom on Tuesday nights. Hey, Mom. Guess what? Darlene said, ignoring the sarcasm and thrusting the letter forward. You are officially a mud turtle. I have not even put on my makeup yet. Give me a break with the nicknames. Harris joked, though she took the letter with a hand that was visibly trembling. No. You really got into college. Central Illinois State. They have an official tour scheduled for this Friday afternoon. Yeah. I am not going to that, Harris said, her voice suddenly flat as she tossed the letter onto a nearby table. What? Why on earth not? Darlene asked, her heart sinking. I start working at Price Warehouse next Monday morning, Harris explained, her jaw set in a firm line of adult determination. They have a comprehensive program for employees to earn a business degree online. It is practical, it is paid for by the company, and it makes sense for someone in my position. Well, I do not want you to go to school in a virtual environment, Darlene said. I want you to have the real experience of sitting in a lecture hall. It is a phenomenal deal. Mom, it only costs $350 a year out of my own pocket. Harris argued. Yeah, but I want you to live in a crowded dorm and gain 15 pounds of unhealthy weight and catch mononucleosis like a normal teenager. Darlene said. That is for rich kids with safety nets. We do not have the money for traditional college. Actually, we already have an official appointment with the financial aid office. Darlene insisted. They want to help us navigate this. And look at the letter. It says they look forward to meeting you personally. Nobody ever looks forward to meeting you. Harris scoffed. We know they write that to everyone on the mailing list. It is a form letter. No, they do not, Darlene said firmly. This is written directly to you, Miss Harris Conner. And why do you want a business degree anyway? You should be studying writing. You remember when the local newspaper printed your article about how much you hate Lanford and the entire community was enraged? That was the happiest I have ever seen you. You were glowing with the power of your own words. Yeah. The mayor called me a public embarrassment to the community. Harris remembered with a small, genuine smile. Of course that made me feel good. It was my finest hour of journalism. Okay. I will go on the tour. Harris relented. But I am doing it for you. Mom. Not for me. Mud turtles. Jackie cheered when she heard the news later that evening at the restaurant. A mud turtle is arguably the worst mascot in the history of competitive sports. What is the official cheer? Go fight. Do something. Mud turtle. The following morning at the restaurant, Becky was looking over a stack of invoices with an expression of pure, unadulterated dread. Instead of a simple estimate, we received a massive bill from your new best friend Dawn, Becky said to Jackie, tapping the paper with her pen. Which is incredibly weird because I do not actually remember us officially hiring her as our supplier yet. She made a very compelling case for her company over lunch yesterday. So I decided to go for it and sign the contract. Jackie admitted, avoiding Becky's eyes. So now major financial decisions are being made without my input over a casual lunch? Becky asked, her voice rising in frustration. Well, we were extremely hungry after our morning wine and painting class. Jackie explained, I am learning so much about my artistic soul these days. I always knew I could drink, but I had no idea I could paint such evocative landscapes. This bill is twice what we agreed we could afford for the initial launch. Becky pointed out, showing Jackie the totals. Look at what she is charging us for these organic vegetables. It is insane. They are all locally sourced and handpicked. Jackie defended. They have a pedigree. I do not care if they are locally sourced. Becky snapped. I only care if they are locally eaten by people who can actually afford them. And she went ahead and put the premium steak on the order. 2. We specifically said no steak until we were financially stable. Dawn showed me that with a significantly upgraded menu, we could attract people from as far away as the city of Chicago. Jackie said, you are right. Jackie. Because clearly, you cannot get a good steak in a world-class city like Chicago. Becky said sarcastically. You definitely have to drive an hour to a roadside diner in a struggling town that bought their steak from a distributor in Chicago in the first place. I am sorry that you do not trust Dawn, but I have chosen to place my faith in her expertise. Jackie said stubbornly. Jackie, okay, I might be wrong about her, but Dawn is a professional saleswoman. Is it not possible that she is just pretending to be your friend simply to ratchet up the bill and hit her quarterly targets? I am afraid she might be taking advantage of your good nature and your desire for a real connection. Au contraire, Jackie said, using her new favorite French phrase. I am actually taking advantage of her by being her friend and picking her brain for free industry secrets. It is a strategic alliance. Au contraire? Now you are talking just like her. I have never heard you say that phrase in your entire life. Becky noted. Au contraire. I said it just a second ago. Jackie yelled, her frustration boiling over. Dawn likes me for who I am. She even invited me to the Rockford Wine Festival this weekend. Well, okay, Becky said, testing the strength of this new friendship. If she is truly your friend, maybe you should cut the order in half today and see if she still wants to spend her Saturday at a wine festival with you. Oh, she will still want me to go, Jackie said confidently. It is a fait accompli. On Friday afternoon, Darlene and Harris arrived at the campus of Central Illinois State. The sun was shining on the old brick buildings, and the air was filled with the sound of students rushing to their classes. It felt like a world of endless possibilities, a world far removed from the daily struggles of Lanford. Okay, your counselor will be right in to see you, the receptionist said with a bright, robotic smile. See you around campus. Harris. Oh, he is quite cute, Harris noted, watching a young man walk by with a heavy backpack. Why would I date a student when there are tenured professors here with actual dental plans? Darlene joked, trying to keep the mood light. Hi, I am Helen. I am here to help you navigate the complexities of your financial aid package, a woman said, entering the small office. She had a kind face, but a professional demeanor that suggested she dealt with a lot of disappointment. So, Harris, what did you think of our campus? Helen asked. It was cool, Harris admitted. I like that the student paper actually investigates real issues. And it is far away enough from my house that my mom cannot visit me on a sudden whim. Well, Harris, we thought your admissions packet was really something special, Helen said. Your essay about your hometown was incredibly spot on and well written. I am actually from that area myself, so I felt every word you wrote. Thanks. I am glad you liked it, Harris said, her eyes lighting up with a rare moment of academic validation. Along with showing you that Harris is special, our application should have also shown you that we are super poor, Darlene added, leaning forward. We are like Dust Bowl era poor. We are looking at a very empty bank account here. That is exactly why we put together a comprehensive aid package to try and make this happen for you, Helen said, handing over a folder filled with documents. Sweet, Harris said, opening the folder. Okay, let us see. Loan, and another loan. Where are all the grants and scholarships? You know, the free money that everyone talks about. Well, I am sure you folks expected that you would be contributing something to the cost of the education, Helen said gently. Yeah, we expected to contribute something, Darlene said. But you have us paying for essentially everything. And with interest rates that look like they were designed by a predatory lender. I mean, we simply cannot afford this reality. According to this projection chart, it will take me 20 years to pay back these loans, Harris noted, her face falling as the dream began to dissolve into numbers. 20 years goes by faster than you think, Darlene said, trying to be encouraging but failing miserably. You can waste that much time on a man everybody said was wrong for you. But you knew better at the time. I am confused, Harris said. I mean, the letter you sent us practically promised to help us. It made it sound like the school wanted me here. I want to help. I truly do, Helen said. Does Harris have a unique skill that might qualify her for a specialized scholarship? A female tuba player is a college admissions home run every single time. We are desperate for brass instrument players. Do you play the tuba, Harris? Darlene asked, hopeful for a split second. No, Darlene. This is a complete waste of my time. I should never have come here, Harris said, standing up and grabbing her bag. No, Harris. Wait. We are still in the middle of a discussion, Darlene said. I am done. Darlene, I felt good about my plan for Price Warehouse. And then I let you drag me here and show me everything that I can't have. Thanks a lot for the reminder of what we lack. You know what? This whole thing is a scam, Darlene said to Helen, her own anger rising to match her daughter's. You just bring people down here, get their hopes up, and then try to trick them into crippling loans they will be paying back for the rest of their natural lives. You should be ashamed of yourself for being the face of this system. You know, I want my $100 application fee back right now. I am sorry. We simply cannot do that. It is a non-refundable administrative fee. Helen said firmly. Well, that check was never going to clear the bank anyway. Darlene yelled as they stormed out of the office. Good day to you. Back at the house, Dan was still recovering from his back injury. He was currently submerged in a bathtub filled with warm water and an alarming amount of iridescent bubbles. The door creaked open, and Chuck walked in, looking for his friend. Dan, Chuck called out. Yeah? Dan replied from behind the shower curtain. I heard you hurt your back, so I came by to check on your status. Chuck said. Mark said you have been in there for a couple of hours. You okay? I cannot physically pull myself out of the tub, Dan admitted, his voice echoing against the bathroom tiles. My back has locked into a permanent 90-degree angle. You are going to get sick if you stay in there too long. Dan, I am coming in to assist you, Chuck said. Oh. Geez. Okay. Give me a second to cover up with some of these bubbles. Would you? Dan said, splashing frantically. Chuck walked in and stopped dead. Rainbow bubbles? I did not picture you as a bath bomb kind of guy. Dan, I thought you were more of a lava soap man. I am a very complex and multifaceted man. Dan grunted. I have a gay grandson who gave me those for Christmas, and I figured I might as well use them. I thought the Epsom salts would help the muscles. I did not realize the glitter and the neon color would turn me into a mythical merman. Your hair still has a considerable amount of shampoo in it, Chuck noted. Yeah. I was going to rinse it off with a hose attachment that fell into the tub and is now lost somewhere near my feet. Dan said. Well, I could reach in there and root around for it. It might change the nature of our friendship forever, Chuck offered. Oh, it is just a little shampoo. I will get it, Dan said, splashing water everywhere. Here. Okay. See, that is not so bad, is it? Chuck said, helping Dan steady himself. That is kind of nice, Dan admitted, relaxing for a second. Oh, wait. Soap in my eye. Soap in my eye. Oh, here. I got it, Chuck said, grabbing a dry towel and wiping Dan's face with surprising tenderness. Okay. Yeah. All right. Let us get you out of that tub before you prune, Dan said. Now, do you want to have some more towels, or should I just close my eyes and pray? More towels, Dan said firmly. You are definitely going to peek. You cannot help yourself. You old dog. Later that evening, Jackie returned to the restaurant after her day with Dawn. She looked slightly disheveled and was humming a tune that sounded vaguely like something played at a carnival. Wow. Looks like you two had a really good time at the wine festival, Becky observed, watching Jackie stumble slightly. I only had one glass, Jackie insisted, her words slightly slurred. I do not know why I threw up in the Uber. It must have been the motion of the car. Dawn bought me this lovely silk scarf. I will be right back. Wow. Guess I was wrong about her intentions, Becky thought. She really is your friend. She still took you to the festival even though you cut the meat order this morning. Well, Jackie said, avoiding Becky's gaze. You did cut the order, right? Becky asked, her suspicion returning. Not exactly in the way we discussed, Jackie admitted. Jackie, Becky yelled. Oh, I do not want to hear the lecture. Becky, Jackie cried. Dawn is the only real friend I have got in this town. That is simply not true, Becky said. Women do not like me. Becky, Jackie shouted. I am too intense. Too much. Too everything. I am a woman and I used to like you, Becky said. I am 64 years old and I am tired of being lonely, Jackie said, her voice small and vulnerable. She is the first friend I have had in years who makes me feel like I am part of something. And I do not want to lose her over a meat order. But isn't it better to find out now if she is playing you before you get any more emotionally attached to her? Becky asked. You deserve a real friend who likes you for your personality. Not for your business account. Or I never find out, and I live in a happy fantasy world where I go from one wine festival to another. Jackie said. Is that so wrong? Look, I just do not want to see you get lied to in another relationship. You have been through enough. You deserve a real friend who sees your value. I know. I do. Jackie said, wiping a tear. How about a glass of wine for courage? But just one. I do not want to get sloppy. Darlene was sitting out on the back porch in the freezing night air. Dan walked out, his back still stiff, and sat beside her. What are you doing out here? Dan asked. Trying to freeze myself to death so Harris can get some hardship money for college from the life insurance. Darlene said, you might want to take your shoes off. It will go faster. Dan suggested. School would not give us any money. Darlene sighed. If I had saved anything. If I had been more responsible. My daughter would not be giving up her dreams at 17. Hi. Welcome to the Connor family legacy of missed opportunities. Dan said. Dad, you should have seen her face when she was walking around that campus. I swear. She was actually smiling. It was like she found her tribe. I feel like I failed her in the most basic way. Don't beat yourself up. Darlene. It sounds like she has got a few things figured out for herself. Hey, I am sure it is a great school. But she probably does not want to start her life with all that debt. And a business degree. That is not a bad idea for a girl like her. I want more for her than a cubicle. Darlene said. I know what you want. But it is time to get on board with the future she is building for herself. And if you are not careful, you are going to make her feel like she has never accomplished anything in your eyes because it is not exactly what you pictured. You mean like art school? Darlene asked. You know where I am going to be Monday morning? Dan asked. At Harris's first day of work, congratulating her on being a responsible adult. And you should be there too. Wait. Is that glitter in your eyebrows? Darlene asked, looking at Dan in the moonlight. I wish it was just in my eyebrows. Dan muttered. The next day, Jackie met Dawn at the restaurant for a final showdown. So Dawn, I am just going to say this clearly. I have to cut our food order. I got a little carried away with the enthusiasm, and I did not discuss the financial impact with Becky. Well, that is disappointing, Dawn said, her face becoming a professional mask. I know, Jackie said. And even though it was not real, I really enjoyed being your friend for a few days. What are you talking about? What was not real? Dawn asked. This. Us. I know you were just being nice to me, so I would buy more steak. And I get it. I am not hilarious. I do not have a cute figure. I am just a middle-aged woman with a roadside restaurant. So, you think I was just pretending to be your friend so I could make a few bucks on an order? That is ridiculous, Dawn said. Look, Jackie, you are cool. You are smart. You are just damaged enough to be entertaining. And you set off all those car alarms to shorten the line at the wine festival. That was legendary. When you want wine. You are absolutely fearless. Jackie agreed. Hey. They were running low on white Zinfandel. Somebody needed to take decisive action. I have a blast with you. And it is hard for me to make female friends. I think they are intimidated by my success. Oh. So same. Jackie said, her face lighting up. So, we are still going to Cheyenne Pete's tonight for the rodeo? Dawn asked. Oh. Hell yeah. Jackie cheered. We are drunk and fun. We are not going to waste that at home. No way. I will be right back. Jackie said, running over to Becky. I cut the order. And she is still my friend. In your face. That is great. Jackie. I am happy for you. Becky said. We are going bull riding. Jackie announced. Hey. I am off in an hour. Can I come? Becky asked. Becky. Back off. Jackie said. It is like you reek of desperation. Back at the house, Dan and his old friend Crystal were sharing a bottle of wine. You know, I am not complaining, Dan said. But the smell of those pain patches on your back is a little overwhelming. Oh, I thought the mosquito candle would cover it up. Crystal said. More wine. Sure. Dan said. When I can venture more than 10 feet from an electrical outlet next week, I will take you to a real restaurant. Since you brought up next week, there is something I want to talk to you about, Crystal said, her tone becoming serious. Shoot. Dan said. There is a promoter that offered my old band a tour of the Midwest. It is a real opportunity. That is great. How long? 3 months. At least. Could be 6. Wow. Dan said, his face falling. You know, the road is a blast and all. But if you felt like you wanted me to stick around here, I could pass on it. I value what we have. I would not be comfortable costing you that kind of an opportunity. Dan said, I would be okay with it. Because, you know, things are going pretty well with us. I think they are, too. Dan agreed. Dan, this may be my last chance to go on the road, but I will give that up if you tell me to. I think you need me. So if you want me to stay, tell me to stay. Of course I want you to stay. Dan said. Okay. So, does that mean you are ready for a real relationship? With everything that goes with it? Got it. Dan said. I gotta go. Take care of yourself. Dan Connor. That is what I do best. Dan replied. Monday morning arrived. Harris was standing in the warehouse, wearing her new uniform. Dan and Darlene walked in, surprising her. That is my granddaughter. That is my granddaughter. Dan yelled. First day? First day? Grandpa, what are you doing here? Harris asked, laughing with embarrassment. Hopefully embarrassing the hell out of you and letting you know how proud I am of you. Dan said. Thanks. Harris said. And also probably going to pick up some Tiger Balm and a canned ham while I am here. Dan added. Hey, am I the only one in this family who actually works for a living? Darlene joked. I just wanted to say to you in front of these vending machines and this rocket ride that I was wrong. I think what you are doing is great. You found a way to go to college on your own terms. I mean, that is amazing. Really? I feel like I am disappointing you by not going to art school. Harris said. Never. I am so incredibly proud of you. You know, I just want you to be happy. Wow. You want to hear something weird? I am happy. Harris said. I am going to get a business degree. And I am going to get rich exploiting people like you. Well, that would be great. Can you do it quick enough to send Mark to college? Darlene asked. Sure. Okay. It is my first day. I have to get in there. Do you want me to get fired? A little bit. Darlene admitted. Back at the restaurant, Jackie was setting up an easel in the corner. Okay. Now that I am painting regularly, I finished something that I am really proud of, and I think that it would look great in here. Jackie said. If you agree. Partner. Of course you can hang your painting in here. Becky said. I call it Dawn at Dusk. Jackie announced, revealing a colorful canvas. Wow. You are really talented. Becky said. If you put that up in here. I quit. Okay. I will put it up in the storage room for now. Jackie said. But when I finish Dawn at Dawn, it is going up in here. The end.